Whatever you wind up doing is exactly what you should be doing.
And I have not behaved one single day of my life. Not one day of my life have I behaved, and I am fine.
I need your help. I can't tell you what it is. You can never ask me about it later, and we're going to hurt some people.
Whose car are we going to take?
Good morning, and thank you for joining us on Nikki Maduro's show on this pretty cold. I'm reading some of your comments before the show. It's pretty cold around the Bay Area today. It's going to be wet. Kim, I got a notice from PG&E.
Oh no!
And I know we had Loretta Lynch. If you missed it, we had her on Wednesday on the Nikki Maduro show. Kim was speaking with her. So I examined my bill. Of course, is up. I love how they say your bill's going to go up $35 and it's like another $100, right? Mm-hmm. So I break down my PG&E bill. It's not even my heater. It's not even my electricity. Now what they're saying all of my energy is going towards is hot water. So I can't heat my house and I can't even take a hot shower anymore.
Oh man.
I mean, my God. So, yeah, I woke up screaming Gavin Newsom's name in a bad way.
Gavin!
Do something, moron. And I know as the CPUC, don't start writing me, but, we all know that he's the one that appoints it. But it's very frustrating. I'm moving past it because it is Friday. John Rothmann will join us in just a moment to talk all things politics.
Oh, Rothmann Friday. This is a good one. And Tim Sika too, right?
And Tim Sika. And we also have another guest that usually is with us on Thursdays, but Jefferson Graham is also going to be on the show today. Oh. And you're going to be excited about this one because he's going to teach us if any of you are going to check out the Eclipse that's coming, not this Monday, but next Monday, I believe.
April 8th.
Yeah, I think that's next, not this Monday, next Monday. He's going to teach you how to take a eclipse photo with your iPhone. Mine will turn into nothing. If I was actually in an area in which I could see the full eclipse, I would want Jefferson Graham to be standing right next to me being like, what am I doing wrong? And if any of you are going to drive to see the eclipse or travel to see the eclipse, let me know. And Jefferson Graham will be joining us in the second half of the show along with Tim Sika. All right, let's get some business out of the way before we go to John. Click the thumbs up button. Show your support for the show. The super chat, super stickers, super comments are always available as well. And we love them and love you guys. And then, of course, if you want to continue seeing the Nikki Maduro show, please join our official Madorable group on Patreon. Just go to thenikkimaduroshow.com. Click the Patreon link and make a donation. And PayPal is excellent. I'm looking at you, Ricky. PayPal.com. Hit the send button and put in the email address, thenikkimaduroshow@gmail.com. And can I also thank all of the people who have been snapping up the barbecue sauces and hot sauces from Aunty Tabby's. If you would like a discount, go to auntytabbies.com/NickKim or Nikki M, Nikkim. And I did confirm with her because, Kim, you had this question yesterday. If you go for the first time to auntytabbies.com/NickKim, you will also see a thing that says 25% off. Mm-hmm. That's if you sign up for her mailing list. But if you go through our link, we will also still get kind of the credit and the promotional deal that she has with our show as well. So don't worry about all that. We will still get it. I know you guys want to support the show in this very delicious way. And it is delicious, my friends. I mean, let me show the pictures again. This is the hot sauces. She has 2 hot sauces, 1 pineapple, 1 hibiscus, and then she has a guava barbecue sauce. Now, if you like a little spice, add the hot sauce to it. If you don't add the hot sauce to it. It's absolutely delicious. Either way. So again, thank you to our sponsor, Aunty Tabby's, and just go and check it out. All right, it is Friday. It's politics time. There is a lot to talk about, so let's welcome our friend, the one and only John Rothmann. You can catch his podcast, Around the Political World with John Rothmann. Hello, friend.
Good morning, and I'm delighted to be with you. Hot sauce and all.
Hot sauce and all, exactly. All right, so there is a ton to talk about politically. As I was kind of teasing with my thumbnail there, Donald Trump is railing against the judge in the hush money Stormy Daniels case.
His daughter. He's going after the daughter. What kind of scum is this?
Can you explain, John, for people that don't understand how Donald Trump is allowed to do this when he has been given a gag order?
The gag order didn't apply fully. And so he has the flexibility, if you will. But what a disgrace. A former president of the United States of America attacking not only the judge, but the daughter. What kind of, well, all I can say is he sinks lower in my estimation with each passing moment.
Yeah. Now, apparently, the judge's daughter, Lauren Merchant, has worked as president and partner of Authentic Campaigns. This apparently is a progressive political consulting firm that's worked with the Biden-Harris campaign and Adam Schiff's super PAC. I would be hard pressed to find anyone that doesn't have a political leaning. It doesn't mean they can't do their job or that their father can't be the judge on a case.
There's no excuse. No excuse, Nikki. This is absolutely reprehensible.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So do you think that this Stormy Daniel case, rank it on probability that Donald Trump is actually going to do some time or face a real consequence with this one?
April 15th is not just income tax day. It is the day when this trial begins. Well, there's no doubt in my mind that Donald Trump was guilty of a payoff, that Michael Cohen executed that payoff. Will he suffer a political consequence? Who knows? I think the most important single thing is what happens with the Supreme Court on the question of presidential immunity.
Yeah.
If he does not have immunity, all bets are off. And Donald Trump, I don't think it's a question of doing time. I just want verdicts. If he's guilty, I don't care if he goes to jail or not.
I do, but okay.
I know. Okay. All right. So you're a embittered opponent.
No, I want consequences, John. I want consequences, true consequences.
The real consequence is to be found guilty.
Yeah.
And to be found guilty and to have that guilty verdict understood by the American people. He's already been found guilty, if you will, of sexually assaulting a woman. We heard, and I don't know if you were going to play it again, the line he used about a woman's private parts.
Yeah, we all know. Grab him by the pee.
Yeah, all of these kinds of things should add up to something. What is a non sequitur for me is why the Trump supporters don't get it.
I know. The Bible, John. The Bible sales. This is obviously a holy week. It's Good Friday today. For Donald Trump to stand up and hold up a Bible and to hawk them it's blasphemous in my mind. I mean, it's a sacrilege to do something. And if you are
$59.99. And let me
have
tell
you ever seen something like this? This is ridiculous.
No, he's including the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution in this special edition. It's a disgrace. It is absolutely a disgrace. And this is how he pays his legal fees, which, by the way, he has spent $50 million of good, honest citizens' contributions to his campaign on his own legal fees.
Yep, exactly.
Give me a break.
Let's talk about the presidential campaign a bit. Yesterday, President Biden did have a huge kind of campaign event with a bunch of celebrities. Stephen Colbert was hosting it. Former Presidents Obama and Clinton were there.
Oh, wait. I hate to interrupt you.
Yeah.
But you know what Fox called them?
What?
The Three Stooges? The Three Clowns?
Oh, geez.
This is how we speak of former presidents of the United States?
Exactly, John. So... I don't know. Did you catch any of the clips from the from it? Do you think it resonates with Americans? I mean, on one hand, yes, it's three former presidents. They've been leaders of this country, a huge celebrity event as well. Donald Trump, of course, saying he was at a memorial for a slain New York police officer, saying that, Biden's base won't let him attend events for officers. It just seems... On one hand, Biden has a lot of money, and then Trump's bleeding through his money. How do you think this is landing for Americans with these campaign events?
Well, the first question is, how will the money be spent that was raised by the Democrats? They're going to spend it on ads. They're going to spend it on get out the vote. They're going to spend it on making the case in those key states, which he has to carry in terms of the electoral votes. What does it all mean? In the end, the raising of money is important. But more consequential is how the American people in the end view Donald Trump and view Joe Biden. I know I'm naive. I concede my naivete, but I believe in the American people. I believe in their good sense. That's why Joe Biden defeated Donald Trump. Despite the fact the Republican National Committee is now imposing a litmus test on people they hire who have to concede that in 2020, Trump really won the election. Despite all of that, I believe that the American people will make the right judgment in the 2024 election. Donald Trump is not going to be elected president, not because he doesn't have a platform, but because he is so despicable himself.
Yeah.
I think 1/3 of Republicans understand that. And if of that 1/3, 20% stay home or vote for Joe Biden, he's in trouble. And let me tell you, we had another interesting situation. Nicole Shanahan.
Yes, I was going to ask you about that.
I have to say a word. First of all, can you imagine what she said about in vitro fertilization this morning?
No.
She said that these were lies, the biggest lies told about women's health. I have to tell you, choosing a vice president is a critical factor in judging a person's competence for the presidency. For Bobby Kennedy Jr. to choose someone who is wholly unqualified to be president, the only thing she has is money. She has essentially, he's allowed her to buy her way on the ticket. I don't understand how anybody can vote for Bobby Kennedy Jr. But more than that, how can he have chosen Nicole Shanahan aside from the fact that she has millions of dollars, mega bucks to dump into the campaign? If his father were alive, he'd be turning over in his grave. That's all I can say.
I mean, I feel like she just, sometimes it looks like they're just checking boxes. She's a woman. She's a minority woman, an Asian woman. She's obviously from the Bay Area, so maybe it'll get some of the California vote. But this is second in line for the White House, John. I mean, it's as if they're not even taking it seriously anymore. And that, I think, is my fear, is that I hope that former President Trump is not reelected, but I hope that when hopefully he is not, we can turn the page on the immaturity that seems to be popular right now with some of these campaigns.
Of course,
am I being naive myself? I don't know.
Don't forget the conspiracy theories. Have you heard the latest about the tanker, the ship that hit in Baltimore? They're making all kinds of crazy, crazy claims. And by the way, did you hear about the Republican representative in Michigan who was very upset about illegal invaders? And you know what it turned out to be? It turned out to be the Gonzaga men's NCAA basketball team. I mean, you can't make this up. It's lunacy.
It is. And how do we get back to it? I mean, and I try, this is what I try to tell myself, John, to help myself sleep well at night. Like, things have always been, when you're in the thick of it, you feel like this is the worst it has ever been, right? And then you look back through history and there have been bad times. But I just feel, and maybe this is because of the technological age we live in, the spread of this lunacy goes at the speed of light. And it's frightening, John. And that's what I think we need to turn away from.
I don't know if we need to turn away from it or we need to expose it. And the question becomes whether the Nikki Maduro program or the Mark Thompson program or the work that I do in terms of my podcast, talking about it, do enough people hear it? Yeah. And I that's what worries me. There is a reliance today on the internet for news. What a mistake.
Yeah.
Because there's no second look. There's no double checking. There's no ability really to understand the false narratives that come out. And by the way, this applies not only in domestic policy, it applies in foreign policy. Did you hear that Islamic State is now demanding that lone wolves attack Christians and Jews on this Easter weekend? It is Good Friday. We are supposed to be talking about the resurrection of truth. But what we're seeing is the descent into dishonesty and lack of integrity. And what's even more shocking to me is that too many people in our own great country are overlooking these disgraceful moments. By the way, 3 cheers for Mike Pence. Mike Pence announced he will not vote for Donald Trump in 2024. That was a blip on the screen, but true. And the other thing that hit me this week was the death of my old friend, Senator Joseph Lieberman.
Yeah, I was going to ask you. Yeah.
Well, I had Joe Lieberman on my broadcast on KGO on a number of occasions. Whenever he was in town, we would talk. Look, I didn't agree with Joe Lieberman on everything, but what a man of integrity.
Yeah.
This is a guy who not only ran for vice president with Al Gore, but considered running for vice president with John McCain, going from the Democratic ticket to the Republican ticket. And this is a man who was denied that opportunity because he's pro-choice. He was pro-choice, pro a woman's right to choose.
Yeah.
And the Republicans would not accept him back in 2008 because of that position. Let me tell you, this is not the Republican Party of Jerry Ford and Betty Ford that favored a woman's right to choose, that advocated for the Equal Rights Amendment. You know what I'm hoping, Nikki? I'm hoping the Republican Party takes a giant drubbing in this election, that they'll have to rebuild outside of the shadow of Donald Trump.
Yeah.
But we have a long way to go on that.
Okay, so given everything that you just said, I'm very interested to see how you feel about the NBC debacle with Ronna McDaniel. A lot of people are saying, oh, well, you talked about this yesterday. Piero was on Fox News, and she's like, they don't want to hear opposing views. And I was maintaining very excitedly that not if she's going to spew the lie, the election fraud lie. How do you feel about this? Since I know you are a huge proponent of hearing all sides. I read everything. You tell me this all of the time, John. Was it a mistake to hire her or fire her?
It was a mistake to fire her. And the reason why I say this is because I believe in freedom of speech. There are a lot of people who I've interviewed with whom I disagree profoundly. Now, it's true they weren't being paid $300,000 a year, but that's not the point. What's more interesting to me is that the NBC is now talking about boycotting. I'm sorry, let me get this right. The Republican National Committee is now talking about boycotting the Republican National Convention over the issue of Ronna Romney McDaniel. Look, I'm no fan of Ronna Romney McDaniel. She's a disgrace to the Romney name, but not to cover the convention?
Yeah.
What kind of nonsense is this? I think that we better give some serious thought to how we approach politics. And by the way, how we approach interviewing people. I loved having people who disagreed with me on the air. I want that. That's what causes controversy. That's what causes people to think.
But isn't there a difference between having a guest on and having a regular political commentator and legitimizing and having her constantly throw in factually inaccurate information, which she continues to do?
Nikki, it happens all the time. And if you listen to James Carville over the years, and I happen to be a fan of James Carville, certainly he's paid big bucks, but it was a partisan pitch. He always makes a partisan pitch. Ronna Romney McDaniel deserves to be heard, and let her be heard. And if you disagree with her, even though she's a paid person, then argue with her. What's tragic to me is the fact that the Republican National Committee would take the stand that it's now taking about eliminating NBC from national coverage. It's mind-boggling to me. But no, I had no problem, and I think I don't know if I said it on your program or I said it on my own podcast. I felt very strongly I had no problem with her being hired. I have no problem with former political operatives being hired. Doesn't bother me. People want to waste their money with that. I want to hear what they have to say.
Yeah, and I hear what you're saying. I don't think that there is, just because she was the RNC chair, that she has some sort of quote unquote right to be a political commentator. I think that I disagree. I just wish NBC never extended the olive branch, because just because you're the RNC chair doesn't mean you're automatically given a job.
It's not an olive branch. Let me ask you this. You or I are sitting on KGO, and you're a news anchor and I'm a talk show host. Mm-hmm. Would you have rejected the opportunity to interview Ronna Romney McDaniel?
No. But I was also not paying her to be on KGO. I wouldn't want a salary going to her, especially if she uses the mic to lie.
That's what celebrities get. That's what they get. Look, John Dean, my former colleague, is a paid person on CNN. Wouldn't you want to disqualify him? He was Richard Nixon's lawyer. But, the point is, John ultimately flipped, ultimately became very responsible. Same thing would apply to Ronna Romney McDaniel. She's not going to defend Donald Trump on these things. Look, Mike Pence, if Mike Pence were given an opportunity to give commentary today for a salary, well, why not hire him? Okay.
He was a vice president of the United States. She was the RNC chair. I mean, there's a difference.
No, there isn't. You both have major political roles. And Ronna Romney McDaniel, in her 5 years as chair of the Republican National Committee, was instrumental in policy, in developing. So you and I may disagree on this, but I would have anybody on. And whether you pay them or not, the simple fact is people pay to listen to you. They paid to listen to me, whether they agreed or disagreed with us. Look, I worked for Richard Nixon. Should that have disqualified me from being a radio talk show host on KGO?
No.
What if I'd continued to defend Nixon? Would I be ineligible because of my political views? No. I say put Ronna Romney McDaniel on, let her give her commentary, and go after it, tooth and nail.
All right. Let's talk about another kind of big personality. Marjorie Taylor Greene has said this week that it's not her fault if House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries is promoted to House Speaker after she filed that motion, as we talked about, I believe, last week, to vacate Speaker Mike Johnson from the position. One, could that even really, I mean, I know people are leaving, but what kind of possibility is it for a Speaker Jeffries?
I think a very good possibility.
Really?
If not in this Congress, then in the next Congress. I think the Democrats are going to take control of the House of Representatives. Hakeem Jeffries will be Speaker. But the greater question is, what in the world are people thinking following Marjorie Taylor Greene, who is a conspiracy theorist? I have to tell you, it's to me, there was a time, and I always remember this, when George Herbert Walker Bush was president of the United States, and the Republican nominee for governor of Louisiana was David Duke. And what did the head of the Republican Party do? He denounced David Duke. He said, don't vote for him. He's not a Republican.
Wow.
I think there has to be a certain integrity here. I have no sympathy for Speaker Johnson at all. But the Republican Party has dug its own hole. And I think they deserve what they're going to get, which is a thorough drubbing. If I were the head of the Democratic National Committee, I would be urging a campaign against that good-for-nothing Republican Congress, because that's what we have now. The same thing Harry Truman did in 1948, running against the 80th Congress. So this, to me, is very critical. The House of Representatives is completely dysfunctional. We can't get aid for Israel. We can't get aid for Ukraine. We can't get aid for Taiwan.
Right.
There is something seriously wrong with the way the House is functioning. And for those who were critical of Nancy Pelosi, let me remind you, during Nancy Pelosi's tenure as Speaker, things got done.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of reconciliation with different points of view in the Senate. Look, same thing is going to apply in the United States Senate. Mitch McConnell's leaving. There's a battle now for the leadership. The three Johns are battling for the leadership of the Republican Party in the Senate. And the Republican Party in the Senate's a mess as well. I cannot wait for the Republican Party to cleanse itself. Here it is, Good Friday, we talk about cleansing itself of the curse of Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans.
I don't know. I'm not as optimistic that it's going to happen anytime soon. And I fear that if Donald Trump in some way ekes out another win and avoids, significant punishment from the courts, I don't know where the Republican Party of this country is going to go.
But I know where we're going to go. We're going to go right back to talking about it. We're going to
exactly. So what's coming up on your podcast?
Yeah, well, my podcast, I do that on my podcast because I think it's so important to do. How many people does it reach? We've got about 150,000 downloads.
Nice.
And I know between you and Mark and the work Kim does, all we can do is reach out. What is a real tragedy, and I've said it before on your program, and I'll say it again, is that there is no talk radio station in San Francisco with the mega reach of a KGO. People don't have that forum. People walk up to me on the street occasionally and say, didn't you used to be John Rothmann?
Oh,
and I
how dare they?
No, because you understand, it wasn't that we were hurt, although I think we were. The community was hurt.
Yeah.
The community suffers from not having the opportunity to talk. And although people subscribe, and I urge them to subscribe and support the Nikki Maduro program and the Mark Thompson program, I have to tell you, it is a tremendous blow to America when we don't have that. And I can tell, let me just add this. I listen to right-wing radio and television. I have low blood pressure, Nikki.
I would hope so.
Not when I listen to this kind of stuff. I go absolutely nuts. So
it's crazy. Anyway. It's crazy. John Rothmann, Around the Political World with John Rothmann. The link to his podcast is in our show notes, as always. I love having you on Friday. Try to keep your blood pressure down. Don't watch too much.
May I just say to everybody, I hope you observe Good Friday.
Yes.
And you remember what Easter Sunday represents to the world. Hope. Absolutely. And I think that is what we all need, is hope. So happy Easter. Hey, wait, Nikki. Didn't ask you the most important question.
Yes, please.
Are you having an Easter egg hunt for your kids?
I mean, I think the Easter Bunny is going to be showing up. Of course. No, yes, of course. Yeah, they're not home. Yes, absolutely we are.
I'm glad to hear that you're so rabid about it.
But I'm bummed. I just love your puns, John. All right. We will talk next week Around the Political World with John Rothmann. Bye-bye, my friend.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. And welcoming Kim McAllister back. So yes, all set and ready for this Easter. It is Good Friday. It is, as John mentioned, this is a time for hope, for cleansing, and the Republican Party definitely needs a lot of that. All right, let's do some headlines. When we come back, we're going to talk about this survey that came out this week, talking about life skills. So apparently, students in the United States are like, can you stop teaching me all this other stuff and teach me, I don't know, how to balance a budget, how to fix my car, how to cook a meal? How do you feel about that? And were you taught life skills? And do you think that schools are kind of failing our students in this way? And more importantly, is this something that schools should be teaching, or all you parents out there should be teaching? Let me know in the comments. But first, let's take a look at some headlines with the one and only Kim McAllister.
Now, from around the world to up your street, the Nikki Maduro Show presents News Czar Kim McAllister.
Well, Maryland is getting $60 million in emergency relief funds after the collapse of the Francis Scott Key Bridge. The funds were approved by the Biden administration after a request from Governor Wes Moore. Those emergency funds provide an initial down payment to help Maryland manage ongoing disruptions to traffic, supply chains, and daily life, and it's the first step in a joint effort to reconstruct that bridge. Former President Trump's legal team, arguing his claims that the 2020 election results were fraudulent, should be covered by free speech. His team brought up the First Amendment yesterday in court. Prosecutor Donald Wakeford says Trump is not allowed to employ his speech or expression as part of a criminal conspiracy to distract opponents. Got to pay for those lies. You can lie, but there are always consequences to the lie, right?
Exactly.
Well, we're teaching our kids. Somebody didn't learn it.
Nope, he did not.
A Boeing plane heading from San Francisco to Paris diverted to Denver last night because of engine problems. A United Airlines flight landed safely. The airline says it's still working to get passengers back in the air. The death and resurrection of Jesus Christ, the most important events in Christianity, and today's Good Friday, the Friday before Easter, commemorates the execution of Jesus by crucifixion. Today of mourning in the church, Good Friday services focus on Jesus' suffering and death on the cross to free believers of the wage of death for their sins. That's right, correct? Did I get it right?
Yeah. So today is the day, he was walking through the crowds with the cross and crucified, and then he is resurrected on Easter. Yeah.
Actor
I know like Kim's like, okay.
Just making sure. Yeah.
Yes.
Good.
There you go. You got it right. There you go.
Just want to be factually accurate there. Actor Louis Gossett Jr. has died. He was 87 years old. His family confirmed the news on Friday. Gossett Jr. won the Oscar for Best Supporting Actor for his role in An Officer and a Gentleman. He also won an Emmy for his role in the miniseries Roots. Gossett Jr. was the second black man to win an acting Oscar after Sidney Poitier in 1964.
Wow.
So, Lou Gossett Jr., dead at the age of 87. The World Court is telling Israel to avoid famine in Gaza. The judges at the International Court of Justice on Thursday released an order stating that the court observes the Palestinians in Gaza are no longer facing only a risk of famine, but that famine is setting in. The
Yeah.
order for Israel takes all necessary and effective action to ensure basic food supplies reach Palestinians in Gaza. Really horrible. Have you seen when supplies come or a truck comes carrying supplies, the swarming of the
Of
trucks?
course, they're
I mean, come
starving. They
on.
can't get people. They
Yeah.
can't get food through. It's awful.
Today's print edition of the Wall Street Journal has a large blank space on the front page because it's the 1-year anniversary of Evan Gershkovich's detention in Russia. So, to call attention to the newspaper reporter, the front headline reads, "His story should be here." And it's blank.
Oh wow, that's powerful.
I think so. Gershkovich was detained during a reporting trip in Russia and charged with suspicion of espionage. So, I think that's very powerful, and it's very true.
Yeah, exactly. It's just wow.
The Senate will receive the impeachment articles against Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas from the House, and it will happen next month. Speaker Mike Johnson will send the articles of impeachment to the upper chamber April 10th. The Democratic-controlled Senate is not expected to convict Mayorkas, and senators could move very quickly to dismiss this whole impeachment.
It's a waste of freaking time. Whatever.
A new rule will be put in place by the Social Security Administration that will increase monthly payouts for certain Americans. Beginning in September, Social Security will not include informal food assistance when calculating your monthly payout. And that means applicants who have received food assistance from friends or family won't have their payment reduced. Can you imagine people who are trying to eat and have to get assistance to eat? I mean, these are, I would say the poorest of the poor, perhaps?
Yeah, exactly. There was interesting, Calvin, I think you're the one that sent me this. There is this just because speaking of food and people that need food and what have you, there's this new app, and I don't know if you've heard of it. I hadn't heard about it until Calvin sent this to me. The Flash Food app. So Flash Food app. And it works with grocery stores. And so when food approaches its buy date, then it lets people know so that, obviously there's less food waste. And I would hope that they would give a bit of a discount on it. But, just any way that people can save money. I opened the show talking about my freaking PG&E bill. And when I looked at where all my energy going, it's not even my heat, which I don't turn on. It's my hot water. I can't. And I'm still paying over $400 a month.
And we're cold. We're wrapped up in blankets. We're not turning up the heat like rich people heat levels, right?
It's crazy. And again, I'm gonna do a little experiment. I'm gonna call because I know I don't qualify. I don't believe I qualify income wise, even though Loretta Lynch, she says the threshold's pretty high because of the Bay Area, but for any sort of discount that way. But they also have this payment plan type thing, or you can set your monthly payment to a certain area. I don't know, but I'm gonna call because this is freaking ridiculous. And if they have these, programs, who qualifies for them? Nobody, just the poorest of the poor, because the rest of us need help too.
Yeah, you have to be destitute.
Yes, exactly. And it's yes, we make money, but not if you keep eating into it. And I don't even have the friggin' heat on.
Come on.
I know we go off on this all the time, but it's just aggravating.
A bill advancing through the California state legislature would lower the speed limit in school zones. Assemblymember Mark Berman of Menlo Park introducing this measure, which would make 20 miles per hour the speed limit near schools throughout the state of California. The bill would also replace the "when children are present" language with specific times when the students are arriving at or leaving from school. Berman says the recent death of a third grader as he crossed the street in front of his elementary school prompted his writing of that bill.
Wow. My son rides his bike to school, and that's one of my biggest worries. You know what I mean? Is that people are just not paying attention. They just pull over real quick. Kids are darting out in front of cars. So,
What is it? It's currently 25 miles an hour.
I think so. And he wants to make it 20.
So, yeah, my husband was served for a while as the crossing guard in front of the elementary school. They had parent volunteers in the morning and then the afternoon. And so he would go in the morning, 1 or 2 days a week, and he would be the crossing guard, helping people, come into the school. Mm-hmm. And he said the number of people who whipped through the main crossing area right in front of the school. The amount of times he almost got nailed.
Yep, exactly.
I mean, it's crazy.
I mean, it almost makes you want to have drop off far away from the school. You know what I mean? Like, so kids can actually walk there. But, you know, I can't. Does anybody live like across the street from a school? Every time my kid goes to school or I drive past it for, you know, pickup or drop off, that must be a nightmare to try to get at it. Because you have to also figure some of the people that live in that neighborhood have no kids at that school. They're just trying to go to work. So if you figure there's some people that are just trying to rush to work, that's how dangerous things happen.
You have to figure people around schools know that. And so they adjust their lives accordingly. Like, okay,
Yeah.
I know all the people are going to start arriving about 7:45. I got to be out of here by 7:30.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I would just,
Yeah.
it wouldn't be worth it to me to try to get out of that mess.
No. A scam to rip off local Girl Scouts is leading to a federal investigation. The Secret Service is now involved because fake money was used. Fairfield police say someone gave the girls a counterfeit $100 bill to
That
buy cookies in
sucks.
Solano County. Happened at least 3 times last month, too. Twice at a Lowe's parking lot, once in front of a Pete's Coffee. On top of that, one of the troops was reportedly victimized last year as well. You imagine? You want cookies so badly that you're going to use your fake money?
I would never, I could never imagine doing something like this, but I don't think I would ever take a $100 bill. I just wouldn't. You know what I mean? I'd be like, no, we can't do that. Or I go to all like cashless if this keeps happening. You know what I mean?
Well, you look at it. You can hold it up and see the
but these are
little
kids.
strip inside.
And they're probably like, here you go.
Every booth has parents.
I know, but still, obviously it's happened, right?
Yeah.
So
California's Dungeness crab season, it's not lasting very long.
No.
Fishing will close early along most of the state's coast on April 8th to protect the humpback whales returning to forage from getting, they were trying to protect them from getting caught in the gear. The season started 2 months late for the same reason. The closure will run from the Sonoma-Mendocino County line to the border with Mexico. Recreational crab traps will not be allowed, but other methods like hoop nets are okay. So,
okay. I mean, I understand why the whole issue is. I don't even think. Have you had crab this season? I don't even think I've had crab this season. In all honesty,
there was a crab feed in town that my family went to. So,
okay.
yeah. I'm not a fan of crab, but they all ate it. So,
Oh, I love. Yeah. You have such odd to me eating habits. How do you not like crab? I love crab. I just haven't had any.
I don't want something arriving on my plate that still looks like the animal that it was before. You know what I mean?
You can have it taken out. You can have like. Have you ever had a crab cake?
No.
Oh, this is so freaking good. What else? You know, like you could just have pieces of crab in something like crab salad or I don't know. Crab's bomb. I don't know what's wrong with you.
The Navy ship, named after its first openly gay politician in the state, is now in San Francisco. Yes, it is the USNS Harvey Milk in Bay Area for Vietnam War Veterans Day. It arrived yesterday and for the first time will host a special ceremony in observance of National Vietnam War Veterans Day. It's an 800-foot-long vessel honoring Harvey Milk. Of course, a 48-year-old shot and killed at San Francisco City Hall in 1978. He served on the Board of Supervisors and was also a Navy dive instructor in San Diego in the 50s. So,
nice.
Some California ski resorts keeping those slopes open for a little longer, thanks to Mother Nature dropping some new snow this month. So far, 4 places have confirmed they will extend their season. Sugar Bowl and Kirkwood will both run lifts until April 28th. Palisades Tahoe and Mammoth Mountain are offering an extra month past that, lasting through Memorial Day. Several others set to close next month could end up extending as well. So the spring ski season is well underway. And with rain here in the Bay Area, today likely through the weekend, we could get even more snow in the Tahoe area or the Sierra. So,
I mean, I have, that's another thing. I haven't had crab and I haven't gone to the snow yet this season. I really want to go. It's just so hard, but maybe during spring break, I'll take a trip with the kids and go up there and we'll see.
Lastly, a disturbing story for you.
Oh, we'll end on a disturbing note. Okay.
A mother is surprised by a rarity found in her second child's birth. Okay. This is going to make breastfeeding a little difficult.
Oh, no.
Honesty Henderson, born mid-March, has 2 baby teeth.
Okay.
Born with teeth.
Oh, born with teeth.
Yeah. Healthline states only 1 in 2,000 births have a baby born with teeth. Doctors
That's actually pretty high in my opinion.
I know, me too. 1 in 2,000. I'm like, I don't know.
There's a lot of babies born every day, so.
Doctors at the hospital say they hadn't seen the occurrence in over 20 years, though.
Oh.
The teeth are harmless to the newborn baby, but yeah, could pose a problem to a mother who's breastfeeding. So.
Heck yeah, you know how hard it is to
problem.
breastfeed, and then all of a sudden you got teeth to deal with. I always remember my mom saying, she's like, the minute you bit me, you were done. You obviously want food. So like, I will not be it. So
I was bitten so badly once.
Oh, yeah. It's, we're not going to get too graphic here, but breastfeeding is tough on the nips.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I can't imagine adding teeth to it. So
no. I'll actually end with this. This is the box office update since we'll have Tim Sika coming in here. Godzilla X Kong, The New Empire.
Yeah.
He's going to be renewing that. Yeah, at the box office. The 5th film in the Monsterverse franchise made $10 million from Thursday previews. It's expected to make between $50 and $55 million in its debut weekend. New Empire also now holds the new record for best Thursday preview results in the entire Monsterverse.
I have not watched any of them. I don't know if this is the third, second. I have no idea because I don't watch Godzilla. It's not anything that's on my list of things. And I watch a lot of stuff. I don't. Yeah, no.
Mama says her 8-month-old has 4 teeth and bites. Ouch.
That's when you say, okay, applesauce for you, kiddo. we're putting these ladies away. And I know the importance of breastfeeding, and if you can deal with it and say don't bite, and they don't, that's helpful. But woohoo, the first time you get bit, OMG, that's a day you won't often forget. So,
oh my gosh, Gordon didn't have teeth until he was 2. That's a while.
I feel like as big as my teeth are, I should have been born with them, but no, I didn't have teeth.
That's really funny. This report is sponsored by you, and that means we rely on you guys to crowdfund this show, and we're so grateful that you do it. TheNikkiMaduroShow.com is the website. You're going to find the Patreon link there and the PayPal link there. And if you'd rather go to the show description, it's all there as well. Yes. So information in a couple of different places ready for you guys. And thank you for all the ways you support the Nikki Maduro Show. I'm Kim McAllister, and this is the one and only Nikki Maduro Show.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. And somebody had mentioned in the comments, let me take this down. In the comments, when we were talking about crab, hold on, I have to first put up Kim's comment. I always thought I was picky, and then I met Kim. So
oh my God,
Kim does not eat crab. A crab sandwich, the crab sandwich at the ballpark, the Giants ballpark. I forget the name of the company that does it. Something's clever with crab. Oh my God. Worth the price of admission. Like buy the cheapest ticket just to get in to get the crab sandwich. I am telling you. It's like on garlic buttered bread. Oh my God, it is so freaking good. It is so, so yummy. So if you do eat, now I want crab. And then Ren had a great point. We had it crab several times this year. It's delicious and would be so good with Aunty Tabby sauces. Yes, indeed. I want to show you the latest thing that I did yesterday with it. And again, auntytabbies.com/Nikki M or Nick Kim. This is what I did with my Aunty Tabby's yesterday. Here we go. I made zucchini and I put the pineapple hot sauce on it. Oh my God, it was so good. You guys know I love my zucchini. I make that in the air fryer. So I just take a whole zucchini, I quarter it out, I score the top of it. I don't even need to put any seasoning on it because the hot sauce is flavorful enough, but you could put like salt, pepper, whatever kind of seasoning you like on it.
Do you put that sauce on before you put it in the air fryer or after?
No,
or
after.
Both? Oh, okay.
That's a good idea though, but maybe it might like caramelize a little bit. I haven't tried that. No, I did it after. Okay. So, but it is so freaking good. So again, if you want to support the show and also support the small business, she donates a portion of all of her proceeds to a children's skateboard program in Jamaica. You can go to, let me just remove this real quickly. Go to auntytabbies.com/Nikki M or NIKKIM, and you'll get 10% off. And yes, if you sign up for the mailing list for 25% off that first time you sign up. We'll still get some of the proceeds from that as well. So please support our sponsor. Thank you. Okay.
That guava barbecue sauce is, would you say that's good as dipping sauce as well for things?
I think, yeah. I mean, it's a barbecue sauce. So like if you made, I don't know if you, let's just say chicken nuggets, because that's what I think of when you dip into barbecue sauce. Done. It's smoky and it's fruity, but it's not too fruity. I don't know if you like guava, even if you don't like guava, give it a shot. It is really, really yummy. It's so freaking good. It's my new favorite. I'm going to put it in my purse. And again, I know, Gordon, it's just so good. It's so freaking good. And again, she's from Jamaica. She misses these flavors, and the hot sauces. You can't just find those flavors anywhere. So give it a shot and try it out.
My kitchen's really clean right now. Really clean.
Sharing. Mine's not. No, just kidding.
I mean, we're talking everything put away. Like all the dishes are put, like everything that was sitting in there drying. Sometimes people just use the stuff from the drying rack or whatever. No, everything's put away. All the counters are wiped down.
Nice.
The oven is sparkling. Yeah, that's exactly what that means. Whenever I get the kitchen really clean,
he's gonna make you something good.
My husband looks around and goes, "How can I make this dirty?"
No, what can I make my gorgeous wife to eat that's delicious? Shut it.
He'll sweep in. No, and it is worth it because he is an amazing cook. But that's how it feels. Like every time it looks like that.
Yep.
It's like it's a blank slate for someone to mess up.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, that's like when it's just like an artist, Kim. Your husband is an artist with food. When there is a canvas that is blank,
yeah,
right? That's what it is. It's a blank canvas. Do not criticize the chef in your house that makes you delicious bread and all kinds of stuff. No. Oh my
I
God,
volunteered him last night to make bread they're looking for baskets for the school auction.
Sign your husband up.
So our family is doing a bread basket for the auction.
Oh my God, how fun.
So he'll put a couple of loaves of sourdough bread in there, and then maybe I'll get some olive oil to put in there and some type of
I don't know, like a vinegar, like to do the
dipping. Something like that. And then maybe I was thinking he could put like a little sourdough starter in there.
That's
with instructions.
Good idea.
Yeah.
I'm always seeing videos for sourdough starters because I save videos that I'm never going to do, as many people do. There was one I saw yesterday. It was like an explosion was happening. I was like, that's really cool. Red's like, Kim, I thought you were going to say clean kitchen, no cooking. No. She's not going to turn the food that David makes away. That's not going to happen.
What I just left him is basically, the what is it? The canvas, a fresh canvas.
Yes, it is.
It's white. It's never been painted on, and here comes the paint.
Well, you know what I'm going to make that I know is going to gross you out, and I have to take them out of the freezer so that I can make them hopefully tomorrow. And I know all my Ricans out there are going to love it as well. I'm making oxtails tomorrow. You don't like oxtails. I know that you don't like oxtails, but it's going to go.
Oxtails are an animal's tail, correct?
It's the meat around it. Like cheeks, the meat that like is just like so good and delicious. That's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
And with the hot sauce and the barbecue. Oh my God, it's going to be so freaking good. I'm so excited. So
I wish I were more like you and more adventurous with my choices.
Well, just shut your eyes and have David put something in your mouth.
Oh, my. Good morning.
He's like, yes.
And this is the Nikki Maduro Show, everyone.
Yeah, exactly. So it is so good. So just, splurge and love it and do all those sorts of things. All right. Well, speaking of cooking and things like that, cooking is a life skill, right? Now you say you don't cook, right, Kim? Like you are just not.
No, it's bad.
It's bad. So would you say that your parents failed you, your school failed you, or you just had no interest in learning?
No interest in learning.
Ever? Like you never, as a kid or as a teenager or as a young adult, was like, I want to learn how to make whatever.
When I was in seventh grade, we had home ec, and there was a quarter of the semester was spent on cooking, and a quarter was spent on sewing. And it was the first time I ever got a D in my life, first and only D I ever got in home ec. I couldn't make a French knot on the pillow, so I failed the final.
A French knot on the pillow? Really?
Yeah, we had to make a pillow, and then we had to make this heart design in French knots. And my French knots were all kinds of jacked up, And so I got a D on the final, which really soured me in sewing for the rest of my life. Like, now I don't care. Fine. Take your pillow. I don't care.
Oh, she got bitter. Do you hear the bitterness in Kim's voice right there? All right. Well, the reason I'm talking about life skills and what's being taught in school or at home, or even the desire to have it, is because there was a poll of U.S. adults. What? Kim eats like a 65-year-old white lady from Missouri. I don't know about that.
No,
Her
Natalie's
husband
totally
cooks.
right. She's so right. My husband would be like, yes, that's exactly right, Natalie. It's
Be more
hilarious.
adventurous. And you know what? I would say if you learned how to cook, you probably would eat more.
Maybe
Different
you're
food.
right.
You know
Yeah.
what? But I try to instill that in my own children. I have pretty picky eaters, but I was a very picky eater, and I eat a lot more as a young adult and as an adult. But this survey in January by Quizlet was exploring recent high school and college graduates' confidence and competency in basic life skills, such as financial planning, car maintenance, cooking, other things. And about 1/3, I'm sorry, that is a large number. 1/3 of recent graduates said they do not believe they have or are unsure they have the financial and core life skills needed to succeed in the world.
Yeah.
And 68% said they think non-academically focused courses in schools would better prepare students for the real world. And I could not agree more. Ren says we had home ec and shop, woodworking, rewiring lamps, etc. Yeah, and I feel like they're slowly bringing it back. Like my kids have the opportunity, but it's an elective. So if you are gonna, advise your kid to do something. So my son is choosing his electives for next year, and he chose international foods, which like you learn how to cook it and you learn about the countries where the foods, come from, and then you learn how to
Yeah.
make this. I'm stoked about that. I also want him to learn. So I'm kind of torn. Like, do I want him to learn how to change the oil of his car? Yes. Is the car that he gets when he's finally able to drive, more computer than, engine? I don't know. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
there's those sorts of things. But yeah, it is, SJ Lola, that is frightening. But here's my question. Who should be responsible for teaching your kids life skills? You, the parent, or the school? Because I'm kind of thinking, who's dropping the ball? It's the parents. Parents are dropping the ball. You want your kids to know about budgeting? Parents, show them a budget. Show them your budget. Say, look, this is the money we have. This is the money that goes out. This is the money that we're spending. Look where we're spending all of our money. This is not where we want it to go. We want to save up for this. We want to save up for that. That's how you do it. To expect the school to do it, I think a school should be the reinforcer of it, but they shouldn't be the sole educator of it, if that makes sense.
So at Julia's school, they have only spots for 2 electives. And she wanted to take band and she wanted to take broadcast journalism.
Right.
Which meant that the normal first freshman class is you have a semester and it's broken down into 2. One is sex ed, community health, and one is finances.
Good.
I allowed her to opt out of the class so that she could take the elective she really wanted to take. And I feel like I have very mixed feelings about it because she could have, maybe that class would have been really good for her to teach her some things that she didn't, the skills that she didn't have.
Right.
But they offer so few spots for electives that you don't get to take the stuff that you really want to take.
Yeah, that's hard. So does, and this is just kind of behind the scenes, does Julia have the option for year-long electives, semester, quarter electives? Because that's what the kids have. So if you choose this is a year-long elective. But if you want more electives, you could do the quarter electives, right? So it changes all the time. So you get a taste of it, but do you get like the in-depth sort of thing? So
it's a year long.
All of them are year long. I mean, on one hand, I think that's good because you really get, everything out of it. On the other hand, then yeah, if you don't like it, then you're stuck in it for a year. You know what I mean? So that kind of sucks. So my daughter she hasn't taken any sort of life skill electives yet either. But here was just digging into the survey again. Automotive maintenance skills, more than any other skill. Nearly 1 in 5 recent graduates say they are least confident in handling automotive maintenance. But I'm not talking about even doing yes, it's the oil, which shouldn't be that difficult. But changing a tire, can you change a tire, Kim?
Yeah. My dad wouldn't let me drive until
There you
I
go.
understood the way that the gear shift worked. I don't know
Right.
why he felt that was so important, but I had to actually be able to diagram and explain it, change my oil, and change a tire.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And even, speaking of the stick shift and the gear shift, there was this op-ed that was written by CNN. And there was this guy was like, I'm so happy the long overdue death of the stick shift car, because all of the reasons why a stick shift was better and all don't really matter anymore. Like automatic cars have like way more gears and are way more fuel efficient than the stick shift. My whole thing with the stick shift is I want you to be able to hop in any car. And God forbid you hop in a car that's a stick shift and you don't know how to drive it. That's
Hmm.
not safe. But yeah, I want my daughter to know how to change a tire and my son at the very least, because that's the most common thing that's going to happen to your car. Now,
It's come in handy for me more than once. I was in Tahoe once, and the vehicle we were riding in, the tire broke down. We came out of the cabin the next morning, flat tire,
yeah.
and I changed the tire. And everyone stood around and they're like,
Yeah.
how do you know how to do that? I'm like, well, my dad taught me.
Yeah, exactly.
At Petaluma High, they have a bunch of certificate programs for kids. So if you want to be a mechanic, you can graduate with a certificate. They have a
Right.
car maintenance facility. Their metalworking shop is so good that I guess they have projects they do with NASA for welding and things. Anyways,
Oh.
it's kind of cool. But one of the things that Julia and her friends want to take is they said they want to take a semester of the car shop. I don't know what
okay.
it's called exactly, but
Auto-
yeah, auto shop. Mhm,
Auto shop, yeah. Now, Ren says parents can teach budgeting and sex ed, but not band, and most can't teach broadcasting. I'd push back on that a bit, Ren. Some parents can't budget for anything. And
It's true.
Most parents, not most, but a lot of parents, their sex education might be very superficial, right? I mean, I don't know how many people are bringing out the diagram of, sex organs and talking about, all the things that are in sex ed in as depth as you would get in a school course, if
It's
that
true.
makes sense.
Ren, we could have taught broadcasting at home. This is true.
That is true. But and there's nothing wrong with learning it. I just feel like I would love for financial literacy, and it is making a comeback. I don't know if it's going to catch up to my kids enough, but financial literacy being reintroduced into schools is excellent. People don't know how to live within their means. I was just bitching and moaning about my PG&E bill. And the only reason I'm able to afford it is because we do budget, but it's eating into my budget. You know what I mean? Like, that's the problem, PG&E, damn it. But yeah, I know how to change a tire. I know how to change my oil, but my husband does it for me. And that's just because I don't want to do it. But I could do that. I know how to cook. I know how to clean. I know how to budget.
You have some mad life skills over there. Look at you, thriving.
But I didn't learn them in school.
Right.
That's why I did not learn them in school. I learned them because my dad taught me, and you learn these things. Like, so that's my point is, yes, I want the option for kids to learn in school, especially if there's some things that they're going to get more in depth in at school. But if you don't feel like your kids are learning it, you have to teach it yourself.
I remember when I first moved out, was with a friend, my very good friend, Dorothy.
Okay.
And her family, she grew up, they didn't have a dishwasher, but she has 6 siblings, or she's one of 6, I should say. And so those kids learned how to wash dishes. So we move out and I'm washing dishes. And she goes, you suck at washing dishes. I'm like,
I didn't know that there was a good way. Is the stuff off of it? That's
because we didn't have a dishwasher. They're right. I thought it looked pretty good. So she had to give me a lesson in how to best wash dishes and glasses. And
what were you doing wrong? Do you remember?
I guess I was handling it in an awkward manner. I don't know.
Interesting.
Whatever it was not up to her standards. But now I'm a great dishwasher.
Oh, look at you.
There's that skill. Yeah, I know. If I ever need a job, I can go back to the kitchen, right?
There you go. I know how to work a dishwasher. All right.
Don't ask me to cook anything, but I'm all good with those dishes.
You know what? That's perfect for me. I would love to just cook and not clean. Are you kidding? I would love that. All right. Another skill that people love to be taught, of course, is how to take that perfect picture. And so let's welcome our resident expert on that. Of course, it's Jefferson Graham with Photo Walks TV. Hello, Jefferson.
Good to see you both.
And I am happy to see you too, because when you told me what you wanted to talk about today, I was like, yes, because this is going to be really cool. And let me know in the comments if anybody is going to travel to see it. But we have an eclipse coming up, Jefferson.
Solar.
Solar. And
Total solar.
are you going to be going?
Sadly, I can't go because I have
Oh,
a photo gig the day before that will end at 4:00. That's in Los Angeles. The closest we could get to is San Antonio. And I just the way the airlines are now, I just
Yeah.
can't pull it
You
off.
can't pull it off. Have you ever gone and seen
Yes,
you have?
August 23rd, 2017 in Newport, Oregon, which is where it started. I went to
Wow.
the very top. It went from Newport down to Tennessee, I think, in space of 3 hours. And
That's cool.
traveling across the country. And this year it's starting near San Antonio and going up to the Maine Canada border.
Right. I know. It's not we're
Huge.
gonna see a partial, I guess, but we're not gonna
Yeah.
get it all. So I mean, so now people are gonna be out there. If you're not flying to Texas or any of the other states that it's passing through, does that matter if you're going to be photographing it, or kind of give us some of the tips and tricks to
Well,
use if you
first
want
of
to get?
all, let's talk about the tips and tricks if you are within the site of the eclipse.
Yes, and we have Ren and other people are going to be going to Texas and everything like that. So yeah, they're going.
So a few things you need. Number one, let's pull them up. You know what I'm grabbing for, right?
Of course. And you protect the eyeballs.
My little glasses, my solar glasses, they sell for about $5, maybe more, maybe less, but easy to get on Amazon right now. And hopefully your local camera store, your Target, your 99-cent store, you name it, they'll have it. You can't look up at the sun without them on. So
no,
know that. So didn't Donald Trump actually look at the eclipse without
for
them?
a brief moment? He did. Yes, he did.
If you want to take pictures on your phone, buy a little solar filter.
Okay.
Okay, and then you tape that, not hard, just tape it over your phone, just like that.
Just
and
right over the lenses. Okay.
right over the lenses. So you need the filter if you're going to try to get a close-up of the sun with your small telephoto lens on the smartphone.
Okay.
Most people that don't have the iPhone 15 Pro Max or the Samsung S21, S22, or S23 Galaxy or the Google Pixel 8 Pro will have a smaller zoom lens that will not do very much. It'll be a tiny image. It'll be a little larger with your smartphone. The pros will have big cameras with 600 millimeter lenses. NASA will be shooting it through a telescope.
Yeah,
So
of course.
my advice is your picture's not going to be that great. You could try it. It's not going to be that great. A video will be great.
Oh, okay.
Because this is an instance where you'll be standing at the Alamo in San Antonio on a morning day, Monday morning, Monday at 12 o'clock, right? And it's a beautiful day and the birds are chirping and everything is normal. And then it starts to get dim and dimmer and dimmer and dimmer until it's total blackness.
Yeah.
And that's just weird and exhilarating. And then it gets light again. And it all happens. Now, wouldn't you rather capture that in a video than a bad photo of the sun?
I would, but I mean, okay, so would this be like a time lapse type of thing that you would be doing, correct?
You could do both because it's 4 minutes. The whole thing
that's
is
true.
4 minutes.
Okay.
So you could bring a tripod with a smartphone tripod adapter to plug the phone into the tripod. And you could press record on the video, compose your image, press record, let it rip. That's one thing you could do. And the other trick that most people don't know is that when you're shooting video on a phone, you could also take stills at the same time. The red button, when it hits record, there's a white button that comes up and you could just be hitting that. And you can get stills that and or a time lapse. So a time lapse is really cool. And that's really easy. Again, you need the tripod for that.
I did not even realize. Thank you for sharing the whole white button. So if you go into your video and you hit the red button and you start recording, on the right of the red button, a white button pops up and you could take stills. See, I'm going to tell my husband about that, Jefferson, because he always likes to take pictures of our dog. And the dog is always like moving around and he wants a still one, but the dog's constantly moving. I'm like, just take a video. But I was saying then go back into the video and pause it. But there, you could just take a bunch of pictures right like that. That's way easier. Thank you for that.
Yeah, the best example is the fireworks. So you got a fireworks and you go, I want a good shot of the fireworks. Well, I know if I shoot video of the fireworks, I'm going to get it all.
Right.
But you could be sitting there hitting the shutter button at the same time and getting still shots as well.
That is a really good trick. Now, as far as doing the video of the solar eclipse, so we don't point the camera at the sun.
If you're doing a wide angle shot,
okay,
of the eclipse, you're fine without the filter. If you're trying to zoom in on your telephoto lens, you will hurt the lens.
Oh,
if you don't have a filter. But a wide shot is fine. Now, the other thing that people should take pictures of is the scene. This is a happening. This is like going to Woodstock. This is hundreds, and if I've dated myself, I apologize. This is like going to Coachella. This is thousands, hundreds, thousands of people all experiencing the same thing that you're experiencing once in a lifetime. Not red, not blue. Nobody's talking politics. Everybody is in the same boat. We all citizens of the planet Earth, and we are marveling at what is going on around us. So you take pictures of the kids with the glasses looking up at the sky. That's always a killer shot, right?
Yeah.
And the funny shirts that they're wearing and the outfits and the hats and how people are responding and acting. You could do all that, and that's a better picture, I think, than the picture that NASA will give to you that they'll do a great job of.
Exactly. Right? Did you find it life-changing? I have heard people go to these solar eclipses and they're like, I was crying when I saw it. I mean, is it that? I've never gone, so it's foreign to me.
It didn't change my life, and I didn't shed a tear. That said, I was live streaming it, and I was kind of busy. So, all this stuff was going on. I was at USA Today at the time, and they had this brainstorm that we would live stream the eclipse in every location from start to finish. So I was, and I was the first location. So,
oh, wow. A lot of pressure.
Yeah.
Okay. So what other things do you have coming up this week on Photo Walks TV?
I've gotten so many questions about how to photograph the solar eclipse. I'm doing another video that will debut later tonight. I just came back from Carlsbad, which is a San Diego beach city, and I spent a lot of time at the flower fields. These hundreds of acres of flowers that are amazing, and they're only out from March to May. They're going to close on Mother's Day. So I have a video coming up about that I'm finishing, with lots of tips on how to shoot flowers with your phone.
Interesting. And where is that flower place?
It's near San Diego. It's in Carlsbad.
And you don't know the name of the flower?
Yeah, it's called the Flower Fields.
That's just the flower fields is the name of the flower?
What flower? It starts with an R.
I'm looking it up right now.
Ramondson. What's
rhododendron?
No, it's R.
Let's see who can guess it first.
It's a type of flower. It's like not a tulip. It's not a sunflower, but it starts with an R.
Okay. I don't know which one it is, but that's the Flower Fields, and that is going to be on Photo Walks TV. And
is it a ranunculus?
That's it.
Kim, look at you, Kim McAllister. A ranunculus. I don't even know what that flower is. A ranunculus. Do you have a picture of it?
They told me that Carlsbad was once the flower capital of the world.
I did not realize that.
Because of the climate and because they had so many open acres. But as they built buildings, not the flower capital anymore. And they told me that the flower capital now is Lompoc. Have we been to Lompoc?
I have a very good friend that lives there. Interesting. So I've never known that the flowers were that. Always seemed dusty to me.
I want to drive up to Lompoc and check it out.
Nice. All right. Well, Photo Walks TV, that's where you can find Jefferson Graham, all the tips, the tricks, the flowers, the eclipses, because he is the guy that's going to help you just use your phone to take amazing photographs. Jefferson Graham, thank you so much. We'll talk to you next time.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Bye. Yeah. Do you have a picture of it? I have no idea what that flower is. I've never even heard.
Do have a picture of a ranunculus.
This looks like redunculus.
Ranunculus. You know what I love about Carlsbad, and I should have told Jefferson this. That's a ranunculus. Very very tight.
Pretty.
Really
they kind of look like peonies, but not. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, those are pretty.
Yeah. They have at the beach there, the bougainvillea grows, or some people say bougainvillea, and it grows in purples and pinks right at the edge of where the sand begins And there's bushes right at the edge of the sand with these beautiful bougainvillea blooming everywhere. And so I've seen people take these shots of the beach, beautiful, with the waves coming in and the sand, and then these pictures and these brightly colored bougainvillea in the foreground. Beautiful.
My mom, those always just remind me of my mother, because the house when I was born, the house I went to, she had this gorgeous one that just went up the side of the house, and it was so pretty. And I remember when I started renting my house, she bought me one. I couldn't make it grow because I'm terrible at remembering to walk. But yeah, it's a very, very beautiful, the bougainvillea or via, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, those whatever redonkulous flowers are really pretty. So there you go. All right. Let's do one more story before we do some more headlines, because I wasn't able to get to it yesterday and I had teased it. Traveling. So next week I will be gone Friday, Monday. I think Friday, Monday, Tuesday. I'm going to Las Vegas. I'm going to be in Vegas. I know. It's going to be a very good time. Now, this isn't a train to Las Vegas, but this is a train that could go to LA. And I want you to tell me, I'm liking this idea, but is this any different than any other train ride? So there's this company called Dreamstar that wants to do a San Francisco to LA night train in collaboration with Union Pacific. Okay. Now the contract's not finalized, so, it's still up in the air, but basically they want to start service next summer. Union Pacific owns most of the 470-mile route. They want to link San Francisco to LA, so they would need agreements, obviously, to use the track with Caltrans and stuff like that. But they say that so they want it to be overnight, so that you get on the train at night and then you sleep all night, and then there's like a shower and everything, so you're all nice and refreshed to work the next day in Los Angeles. Anybody train riding from San Francisco to LA as if it's your commute versus, does that really open up the possibility of expanding your horizons, let's say job-wise or what have you? Because I don't know. Jim's like, coastal ride is quite beautiful. I did it one time where the train did go at night and I fell asleep, but I could see the sunset. It was amazing on the ocean. It does look gorgeous. So the train would offer a range of classes from economy roomettes to deluxe first-class staterooms. Services would include showers, high-speed internet, app-based arrangements for tickets, onboard food, beverage, and hospitality services, and last-mile transportation. You'd also get snacks, small plates, desserts, drinks in the train's lounge. And the fares that they don't have the specifics on will, quote, be on the low end of overnight rail travel in North America. Walk-up fares would be competitive with plane tickets bought within a typical business travel window. I know that, and that's as much as they're giving me about the expected cost. So if you figure, I don't know, let's say if I was going to travel from San Francisco to LA, what, $150 maybe? I don't know. Southwest, something like that. I don't know if I'm totally way off on this, but I feel like it shouldn't be that expensive.
I love the idea of going on the train, having an interesting dinner on the train, then settling down to bed, you wake up, you're right where you need to be.
But this is my question. And again, I'm not a train rider. I feel like it's bumpy. Like, I'm a light sleeper. You know what I mean? Like, do I want to be like bouncing? Like, how smooth is it?
Isn't that kind of a little bit like white noise, where after a while it just becomes the rhythm and you settle into it?
I don't know. That's my question. Train riders out there, because I remember my mother and father-in-law, they took a train ride from Arizona, I want to say, to Missouri recently. And I think my mother-in-law had mentioned it was a bit bumpy, at night. Murphy says if you could sleep on a ship, you could sleep on a train. Well, I don't remember the last time I tried to sleep on a ship. JP says the rails need better ties of reinforced concrete and logs. Okay. I like the idea of what you were talking about: sleeping, showering, waking up, and being in my destination. So this could be coming as soon as next year. And I think it's important when it comes to, the news about flying and Boeing and the price of airfare and all those sorts of things. Did you see that Southwest Airlines is cutting its LA flight to Hawaii. That's just if you're in LA. Apparently, it's not going to happen here in the Bay Area, which is a good thing. I've never taken Southwest to Hawaii because the last time I went to Hawaii, we took Hawaiian, and it was a nice flight. The airline began running Hawaiian routes from Oakland 5 years ago. The Bay Area is kind of like the heart of Southwest service to the Hawaiian Islands. But yeah, they're saying no to LA. And tickets on an airplane are expensive. So if I can get down to LA, if I'm going to Disneyland or if I'm doing something like that, I could see it pretty. I could see it being pretty a good option for people. I don't know. I'm not a train rider, and I wanted to see. Gordon says I don't think I could sleep on the train. Oh, Phineas, you are triggering a memory for me. Don't show your kids Throw Mama off the train. I remember being a kid and watching this movie. Danny DeVito's in it. Who's the other person that's in it? And then that old woman that was in Goonies, right? I think it was the actress that played in Goonies, the mama. Oh my God, my mom cracks up. She's like, "Don't throw Mama from the train." That's Jesus. I haven't seen that movie in forever. Mara says it's pretty oh no, never mind. I thought you were talking about trains. JP says Japanese trains are amazing. I feel like Japanese trains go extremely fast too. These are using our existing rails, so they might not be the smoothest.
Do they have the bullet trains or something?
I don't know if it's making any stops. I feel like it's just San Francisco to LA. Again, we're just waiting for more details, but that's going to be the new option travel-wise for people starting hopefully next year. Let's see.
Depending on the price, I'd take it.
It really depends on the price. Also, good point. Regarding gas prices, if you have to go to LA, how's it going to compare? Because I will say, even if you even if it's less driving gas wise than a train ticket, when you drive, you spend all kinds of money. Because you're going to stop at restaurants, you're going to stop at the gas station, you're going to stop at all these places. And that's like my best friend. She always drives places. And I'm like, you are still going to spend money. And you're also using the time. She's like, no, I'm going to bring snacks. I'm like, you're still going to stop. You're still going to stop at a fast food place. You're still going to stop at a restaurant and all of those things. You might as well just fly and get there in an hour. Like that's how I live my life, people. That's how I live my life. I don't like to sit in the car too long. All right, let's do some headlines. Tim Sika is also coming up. We are going to be talking about 3 movies. One that Kim mentioned, that Godzilla X versus, I'm assuming, Kong, the New Empire. I don't know, man. I can't wait to see what Tim Sika is thinking about this Godzilla movie. We shall see as well. All right, click the thumbs up button. Show your support for the show because we really do appreciate it, as well as a super chat, super stickers, super comments. And here's some headlines.
Now, from around the world to up your street, the Nikki Maduro Show presents News Czar Kim McAllister.
Well, the largest crane on the East Coast is now at the scene of this Baltimore bridge collapse, and another large crane is on the scene now as well. Officials say about 4,000 tons of debris needs to be cleared from the bow of the ship that crashed into the Francis Scott Key Bridge. A search for the 4 missing construction workers who are now presumed dead has been paused due to the dangers created by all the debris in this area. The host of an upcoming Donald Trump fundraiser says they've already raised more than $26 million. You see, if you have President Biden raising $25 million, Trump can't be outdone. So he has to raise $26 million.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. So this is the host of an upcoming Donald Trump fundraiser that says they've already raised more than the $26 million President Biden took in Thursday night during the star-studded event that he held. Did you watch any of this? No. President Biden appearing with former presidents Barack Obama
I read the headline, but
and Bill Clinton. This was at Radio City Music Hall. Billionaire John Paulson told ABC News in a statement, $33 million has been raised for the Trump fundraiser he's hosting in Palm Springs on April 6th.
Biden had a hell of a lot more money than Trump. That's all I'm going to say. He just does.
Congressional leaders are calling on Russian President Vladimir Putin to release a Wall Street Journal reporter being held prisoner. The top 4 leaders in Congress issuing a joint statement today condemning the unjust imprisonment of Evan Gershkovich. And of course, as we mentioned earlier today, it marks the 1-year anniversary that Gershkovich was arrested in Russia on espionage charges. There is a rare bacterial infection in the United States that's on the rise. This is kind of scary. The CDC says about 1 in 6 people who have gotten it have died from identified cases of this meningococcal infection. The cases have been mostly seen in middle-aged adults, but it's a meningococcal infection that's on the rise
Like a
here in the
brain
U.S.
thing, right?
We don't want it.
No.
What is it?
It's in the brain, right? Meningitis. It's like in the brain, meningococcal. I think that's a brain thing, right?
I think it also can affect your lungs as well.
Oh, really? Okay. Ugh. You don't want to get
yeah.
it. You don't want to get it. That's all.
We need more information on this thing that's flying around. As mentioned earlier, actor Lou Gossett Jr. is dead at the age of 87. We mentioned that he had gained fame from his Emmy-winning performance in the miniseries Roots. He also became the first Black man to win a Best Supporting Actor Oscar for his role as a drill sergeant in the 1982 film Officer and a Gentleman. So sad to lose him. 80, what did I say, 87, 82?
Wow.
I think 87. The funeral for former Senator Joe Lieberman will be held today in Connecticut. He died this week of complications from a fall. Now, his funeral will be held in Stamford, Connecticut, where he grew up and graduated from Yale. Lieberman was a state senator before winning election to the U.S. Senate. He also ran on the Democratic presidential ticket with Al Gore. That was in 2000. So... A lawsuit alleges a Minnesota scholarship for young Black students violates an anti-discrimination law. The George Floyd Memorial Scholarship at North Central University is now the subject of a complaint filed with the Department of Education, arguing the scholarship violates the Civil Rights Act's prohibition on the basis of race, color, or national origin. What do you think about that? I mean, should there be scholarships that are allowed only for people of color?
Well, I mean, unless you're going to pay every Black person millions of dollars in reparations, I think this is the right way of going about it. I mean,
you could argue, okay, well, then should there be scholarships that are only allowed for white people?
White people weren't enslaved. White people weren't redlined. White people weren't, we're not giving apologies to white people for how we treated them throughout history. I feel like...
No, I completely agree with you, but is it, just to cut away all the injustices and everything else, when you just look at treating people differently on the basis of race, do they have a point? Do they have a case?
People treat people differently based on race. True. Whether they want to say it out loud or not, fine. But let's just, call a spade here. Color, not punny. But I'm just saying, these are the ways in which we can give back to groups that have been marginalized throughout history. It's documented. It's a fact. And let's just be blunt, for white people to be like, where's my scholarship? You're not behind the starting line. You're in front of it already. So stop.
I don't know how you lift people up or right the wrongs without doing something like that.
Exactly. That's what I this is fair.
Unfortunately, it means that there's other groups of people that have to have a seat on the sidelines while other people are being lifted up.
But
and so,
the thing is, there is no sidelines. This is what kind of is the hard part about the conversation is when, and let's just speak in black and white because it's just easier to make a point. Okay. So for a white person to say, well, I missed out on this scholarship because I wasn't able to go for it. Who said there's a lot of things that people can't go for all of the time, but I think there's an assumption, and I'm using white in the broadest of terms, amongst white people, that because they're no longer the default, because they don't get to, benefit from everything, against ignoring the history, right? Well, that was then. Well, this is now. And so this is just the reality of the situation. For generations, white people have been the default, and you could still see it today. You could see it in books. You could see it in statues. You could see it in just how, even in medicine, you can see it. If you look at some of the research that's done regarding diseases and the possibility or the probability that certain people even get a disease or pain thresholds, they're often based on 45-year-old white men or something like that, right? I mean, when you're the default and the world is spun around your axis for so long, it could be uncomfortable when it doesn't anymore. but that's the age that we're in, and we have to right that wrong. And so sometimes, sorry, we have to make these caveats and these scholarships and whatever for other people.
Yep. We talked yesterday about whooping cough. Yeah. Bay Area parents keeping a close eye on their kids amid a whooping cough outbreak. This is going on in Marin. And now health officials are issuing an advisory as the number of cases in Marin County jumped to 113 now. Yesterday it was in the 90s. Now we've got 113. More than 65 of these cases are at Tamalpais High School, have been since December. And efforts are underway to notify everyone who may have been exposed. The highly contagious bacterial disease mostly affects children. Symptoms can show up 5 to 21 days after infection, with some developing severe coughs that last weeks or even months. There's dangerous. There's an update on last week's wrong way crash that happened near the Bay Bridge. Two suspects, El Cerrito police chased, are now charged with murder. Their pickup truck slammed head-on into a car on Interstate 580 in Oakland, killing a 57-year-old Lafayette man on his way to work. This all started after a burglary at a tobacco shop in San Pablo. So police called off the chase on Interstate 80, and they say that's when the man made a U-turn on the roadway and hit the driver. So sad. The Bay Area is on alert for possible power outages today. A wind advisory will be in effect for the coast and the East Bay Hills, where winds could reach 45 miles per hour, means down trees could be possible. Forecasters say drivers should brace for pockets of flooding as well, especially in the evening commute. The heaviest rain and the strongest winds happening between noon and 9 p.m. and thunderstorms could continue tomorrow. So we're in for a bit of
I know, but doesn't it always, I mean, I know I live in San Jose and the Bay Area is huge. So what you're experiencing in the North Bay isn't necessarily what I'm experiencing down in the South Bay. But sometimes I'm like, we're such wusses. I mean, like some people in other parts of the country would be in bikinis by now, like I'm like, we're cold. It's 50.
A little bit of rain, people. Why do you need your blanket? You're okay.
Because it's freaking cold, and I can't turn the heat on. That's why.
It's cold in this house. I'll tell you.
I've turned the heat off.
Surprised you can not see my breath.
Jesus.
Yeah. Well, with your PG&E bill, you have to. Yeah. There is a new musical inspired by the music of Huey Lewis and the News that is starting previews tonight on Broadway. The Heart of Rock and Roll will be making its debut at the James Earl Jones Theater. The new musical follows Bobby, a Chicagoan whose failed band makes him return to the corporate life until he gets another shot at stardom. Opening night is set for April 22nd. So Julia's in New York. And
how's she doing?
I got a picture last night.
Okay.
The first picture she took in New York of a piece of pizza. That's what I got.
Of course.
I get food pictures.
Thing.
Yeah. She's doing it well. She's ridden the subway twice. This morning they're at a music clinic somewhere in New York City.
Nice.
And she's having a really good time. She sounded really tired last night. And she's a little bummed because one of the things they're going to do is go see a Broadway show.
Right.
And she really wanted to see Wicked on Broadway.
Right.
And somebody else said they didn't want to see that. And so the group chose Back to the Future, the musical. She's like,
I mean, that sucks that like they can't. Do they not have more than one chaperone? I mean, could they not like do more than one?
I guess they have to go as a group. I don't know.
That's kind of, but you'll just have to bring her back to New York.
I guess so.
Go see Wicked. That would be fun though, especially because they're making it into a movie right now also. So just to go see it on the Broadway stage. That's awesome.
Right.
Has she ever been to Broadway before?
No, this is her first. I've never been to New York.
You've never been to New York. Okay.
No.
Yeah. Oh, awesome.
Yeah. Laura Trump is dropping a new single for what she says are her huge fans in the liberal media.
A single? Like a music single?
Yeah, that's right. The Republican National Committee co-chair announced her song, Anything is Possible, on X. Trump, who's the former president's daughter-in-law, told Breitbart, how's that for a source, that she'd like to further pursue music after the election. Her new song is all about faith. Again, it's called anything is possible.
Or believe any BS that we're, spoon feeding you right now. Anything's possible. I mean, yeah, sure. Little aliens could have come down and hopped into the voting machines and changed the 2020 election. Anything is possible.
Anything's possible when you lie and believe the lie.
Exactly. Oh God. Is she? I'm sorry. I'm not up on my Laura Trump trivia. Is she a singer? Is this a thing?
I guess she is now. This is
God,
her new thing.
Lord Almighty. I mean,
I know.
Are you Montreal? Anything sucks.
Anything indeed. Anything sucks.
No way. And is she going to sell this music? Is she going to be on Spotify? Like, oh my God.
All the Trumpers will buy it, right? Along with the Bibles and the sneakers.
Oh, God.
Speaking of music, musician Pharrell Williams is reportedly working on a musical that will be loosely based on his experiences growing up in Virginia Beach. Deadline reporting Williams would produce the film, which will be set in 1977 and take inspiration from his time living in the Atlantis apartments. So,
nice.
Michelle Gondry would direct the film, and Kelvin Harrison Jr. play the lead role. The film is in development at Universal, and no release date has been set. Pharrell Williams, of course, the song "'Cause I'm Happy." Yeah, and that's what we know him from.
Yeah. And a lot of other things, but that's the song that we're choosing. Yes.
Lastly, Cape May County officials in New Jersey are asking the New Jersey Turnpike Authority to not name a Garden State Parkway rest stop after actor Bruce Willis. The County Board of Commissioners, in a letter to New Jersey officials, would prefer that the rest stop be named after a local veteran or community leader from Cape May County. Willis graduated from Penns Grove High School in 1973, later attended Montclair State University. The Die-Hard star is retired from acting. Of course, he was diagnosed last year with frontotemporal dementia. The rest stop couldn't be renamed as early as next month, according to the press of Atlantic City. It could be named, rather. Yeah.
What do you think about that? I mean, I kind of feel like that's a little mean. Why not? If he's a big name that came out of he's not like a president or a veteran or anything like that. I get that. Did he put and again, not a big historian on Bruce Willis or where he came from, but I don't know. Does it seem kind of mean? It's like the poor guy. I don't know.
Don't name it after Bruce Willis. Name it after somebody local that, made the community proud. You would think.
But did they not? Did he not? I mean, is he not? He's contributed to society in that way.
Claim to fame that he came from that area and, did something that everyone knows him for. Although we in the Bay Area named the bridge, the Rainbow Tunnel, the Robin Williams Tunnel, right? But in this case, Robin Williams did a lot for the Bay Area.
Right.
He still lived here.
Yes, he still lived here too, yeah.
He was involved in a lot of charities, a lot of charity bike races. He gave back a lot to the Bay Area.
Right.
And so maybe Bruce Willis moved away from New Jersey and never looked back. I don't know.
Yeah. Again, I think that's a good point, right? Like, did he give back to the community in which they're like, this is one of our hometown kids has done well for himself, that sort of thing. On the other hand, it does seem if there was an effort to name it after Bruce Willis and then they're fighting against it, it's like, come on.
Yeah.
That seems mean, right?
Yeah, it does seem a little mean.
It just seems a little mean. But then how often do people even pay attention to these things? I mean, obviously the Robin Williams Tunnel with the rainbow and everything, that's just really well known. What are they going to do with Bruce Willis? Is it going to look like him coming, in the air conditioning shaft from Die Hard or something?
It's not like a major tunnel or a roadway. It's just a rest stop.
Yeah, like you can adopt one, can't you?
I don't know. It doesn't seem like that big of a deal. I don't know.
Maybe it's the only one. How big of a town are we talking about here?
The only rest stop in Cape May County. I don't know. This report is sponsored by you.
So
it does mean that we do rely on you to help us fund the Nikki Maduro Show. And we're on Patreon and PayPal here on the Nikki Maduro Show. You can find it at thenikkimaduroshow.com. It's also in the show description with a lot of other links as well. TheNikkiMaduroShow.com, though. That's the website. I'm Kim McAllister. This is the Nikki Maduro Show.
Thank you, Kim. And again, please consider purchasing from our Nikki Maduro sponsor, and that is Aunty Tabby. So go to auntytabbies.com/Nick Kim, Nikkim, and buy up the sauces. If you go there for the very first time, you're going to see 25% off. You will get that, and we will also get the promotion as well, support. But sign up for both. I mean, obviously, sign up for the mailing list, get your 25% off, and then every single time you order, you will also get 10% off. So not just the first time you order, every single time you order after that. Okay, so again, AuntyTabby's.com/Nikki M or Nick Kim, Nikkim. It works out that way because it's meant to be. Okay, it is Friday. So let's talk about what we're going to see on the big screen, the small screen, and welcome our friend Tim Seeker.
Hello, ladies. How are you both?
I'm good. I saw on Sunday Ghostbusters.
What'd you think?
I thought about you almost the whole entire time.
No, don't ever do that. No,
I saw it. I told this on Monday.
Yeah.
I said, there's this one scene, you're going to know exactly what I'm talking about. This one scene towards the end of the movie where like someone's banging on the door and everyone's behind the door like, oh, who could it be? And I look at my husband, I'm like, it's Bruce Willis. Or not Bruce Willis. It's
yeah.
how do I not know his name right now? I'm thinking Bruce Willis, but it's who is the main guy in the Ghostbusters? Oh my.
Well, there were a lot of men.
Not Paul. The old Bill Murray.
Bill Murray.
I'm like, it's Bill Murray. It's Bill Murray. And of course they open the door and it's Bill Murray. And he was in it before, but it was a good. My son loved it. My daughter loved it. They loved the movie. By the way.
Yeah.
So to each their own.
I think generationally, I'm beginning to get phased out on all these movies because See, I just thought that. It was fine, but to me it lacked the daffiness and the silliness, which made the first one, which was like 40 years ago, again showing my age. That's what made that movie a comedy classic. This was like, I don't know, it was like the CGI insanity. I don't know. Anyway, when I talk about Godzilla, I'm going to go there later. But
okay, we're going to talk about one movie before we talk about Godzilla, and that is Dogman. This is not for kids, you said. Dogman is not for kids.
Oh, man. Zowie wowie is all I have to say about Dogman. And when this movie was all over, I seriously, literally had to catch my breath.
Wow.
Parenthetically, I also had to catch my breath repeatedly while watching it. To me, Dogman is a movie and an example of what movies are supposed to be, what they're supposed to be like all about, and what they're supposed to accomplish. But I have a lot of qualifications here. But anyway, it's directed by Luc Besson, who's no stranger to weird, offbeat, and off the rails movies like The Fifth Element. Anyway, it's about a very damaged soul, a man who survived this childhood of severe abuse. Caution here, sensitive viewers, if this kind of stuff upsets you, but he develops this love of Shakespeare, right, when he's briefly sent to a juvenile detention center, and then he manages to further emerge from this physical and psychological abuse he suffered as a child by becoming a drag queen. Now, that's only part of this. It's mostly about how this character becomes a kind of ringleader for this pack of dogs whom he loves. He loves more than people. He relates to them more than he relates to people, and with whom he lives, and which he uses to home invade the luxury domiciles of wealthy people, stealing their valuables. It sounds crazy, doesn't it?
I'm confused, but okay, I'm there with you.
Well, it is. It's kind of, well, it's not kind of. It's crazy, this movie. It's totally out there, but it's so vivid. It's so visceral, it's so intense, it's so like alternately brutal, but tender and awful, and yet it's also strangely poignant, this movie. And it overflows with energy. I said earlier, this is like what I think movies should be about. It's made by obviously a master filmmaker because it overflows with energy and color and just about every emotion you can think of. But as I said, in many ways, when you actually think about it, it's ridiculous and outrageous, but it weirdly works and it makes an impression. I feel like when this movie was over, I felt like I was branded. You know how like animals are branded and the mark never really goes away?
Right.
That's the feeling you have when this movie is over. It's also the kind of movie, this is another caveat, if you fully engage with it, once may be enough. But that's the power of this story. It's a terrible emotional experience, and it reminds me of a movie like Sophie's Choice, a movie that's so vivid and intense that I remember, and with that movie and with this movie, every frame of it, and it'll be a long time before I put myself through like Sophie's Choice again. But the same goes for Dog Man, with the caveat that if animal and child abuse is something that's too much for you to see on screen, you may want to tread lightly. But despite that, I have to recommend it. It's brilliant. It's one of a kind. And I have to mention Caleb Landry Jones, who's in that poster there. He plays the lead. He is phenomenal in the drag scenes and the scenes where he's interrogated by the police and in the scenes with his dogs. Those are just so unbelievably moving and emotional. It's like a Brando-esque performance that deserves to win awards like Oscars. But yeah, I don't know if I encapsulated what this movie was or what it was like. It's just it's an experience. But and it was tough. I mean, I don't think I'm going to watch this movie again for 30 years. But it's amazing. I think cinephiles will love it, and people that appreciate great acting, I think, will love it as well. But oh God, is it?
Intense.
Whoa,
okay,
whoa, baby.
Let's move from that intense to this. Just seems ridiculous to me. Godzilla versus King Kong.
Well, it's Godzilla, right? He's been around for what, 70 years in the movies? I
have no idea. I'm not.
And I think there's 40 movies made with him as the star, and King Kong over 90 years in the movies, with around something like 13 movies with him as a star. Yeah, they've been paired before, and now they're paired again in their biggest, I don't know, hair pulling movie yet. Godzilla X, I guess it's Godzilla X Kong, the new empire. And an X between their two names apparently signifies a collaboration of a sort, meaning that they're being paired together instead of being put in conflict with each other.
Oh, I would have thought then it should be a plus sign, not to get all mathematic about it.
I know, right? Well, I don't even know how to even say it. Yeah, I guess Godzilla X Kong. Anyway, it's still, it wouldn't be a King Kong versus Godzilla movie unless they fought each other for some reason. So it's no spoiler to say that they do, and they, along with all these other creatures they encounter. But anyway, the movie takes place in Hollow Earth. That's all I need to say. And some people would argue that this is I'm speaking for me, is the worst example of how far technology has impacted the movies. And some would say the opposite. They're like, wow, a movie like this could never have been made if the CGI technology were any less sophisticated. For me, it's more of the former. This is like a 2-hour exhaustive video game. So many special effects, so much CGI that it makes, I don't know, Aquaman, The Lost Empire seem tame by comparison. But I mean, again, I like to be fair. On some level, it's hard to dismiss the overall achievement of this movie. I mean, it's like an amazing achievement, but I found it lacking wit. It was just a lot of stuff thrown at you, over you. And if you experience an IMAX in your face, the script was, you said it, Nikki, ridiculous, preposterous, silly. And there was way, way too much story. It's as if the damn thing were like run through some sort of algorithm to appeal to as many people as possible.
Oh, interesting.
It's not even good camp. I don't know.
No,
watching
it's a no from Tim.
Well, it's a no. It was like, for me, it's like as if somebody took Star Wars and A Night at the Museum and that Tom Cruise Mummy movie and Jurassic Park and Transformers and ran them through a blender and then just slapped Godzilla and Kong on top of the end result. And I love Godzilla. I like Godzilla. Fans aren't going to care what I say or think or write about this movie, but I like Godzilla. But I just think this was endless bombast, and it exhausted me having to sit there. It's 2 hours, for God's sake. But apparently, it raked in a truckload of cash in early previews. And the invited audience that I saw the film with, they applauded it when it was all over. I don't remember the last time an audience applauded a movie. So what the hell do I know?
Well, we love your opinion about it anyway.
Yeah,
and I'm
thank you.
Probably not going to watch. Is this a theaters only movie?
Yes, in theaters only. Yes,
okay.
It's best experience in a theater. I saw it in IMAX. And literally when it was over, I just go, I need a Tylenol.
There you go.
I don't know.
All right. Well, the last one we have on our list for today is In the Land of Saints and Sinners with Liam Neeson.
Yeah, Liam Neeson is back in another action thriller. He's like the Energizer Bunny. This guy.
He's as an action star, he has this subdued, burning anger, from the Taken type of thing.
Yes,
so kind of scared of him, but
yeah, and you know why? Because he's 71 now. He's 71.
That'll do it.
But he looks great. He moves great, and in my opinion, he's always great in the acting category, and he's great here in this latest action thriller. And actually, action thriller is the way they're promoting this movie. It's a bit misleading. This movie being a total surprise for me, in that while there was some action in it and some violence, it's really this serious drama about this former assassin played by Neeson, who's seeking some sort of redemption and penance and peace in his life for having been a hired killer during the time of the Troubles, quote unquote, in Ireland. The Troubles, of course, refers to that 30-year conflict in Northern Ireland that began in the 1960s and lasted through the late 1990s, that involved the IRA and all that violence. Anyway, This one takes place in 1974 in Northern Ireland, in Belfast. And it's interesting because it has all the beats of a Western, even has a kind of a Western movie score, like this Ennio Morricone ripoff. Only it's in Ireland, with the Neeson's character as its focus, and this historical, political, and nationalistic conflict is the movie's backdrop. Yeah, and so it's surprisingly good. I mean, it's extremely watchable. It's very entertaining, despite this uneasy terrorist sense and vibe hovering over it, and beyond it being a quote unquote action thriller, I liked it because it explored this notion of a person becoming a killer, not necessarily through any fault of their own. In other words, the character Neeson plays, he's an assassin, but when we learn about his past, we learn that he becomes an assassin out of a series of circumstances his character found himself in, which just escalated out of circumstances, circumstantial necessity. You could argue that, and the same holds true for the other lead character, this IRA terrorist played by Kerry Condon, who was in Banshees of Inisherin, and in that movie she played goodness and beauty so brilliantly. But in this, this reminds us in this movie what a great actress she is. In this, she plays the total opposite. She's very scary and very driven woman, IRA terrorist who's prone to violence and bent on revenge for the murder of her brother. So yeah, what am I saying here? This is a really fine adult film. It's got nuance, a good script, and some excellent performances. So good drama. It surprised me. I was expecting a kind of Liam Neeson, and you mentioned, Nikki, you said,
a Taken type of thing, right?
Well, and yeah, exactly. And you said that he's kind of he's coming across differently. That works to his advantage in this performance, because he's very world weary. He's got this melancholic look about him, that he's just trying to sort out his past but get peace in the present, and it's complicated. And he was beautifully cast. Yeah, this is Liam Neeson at 71, and
there we go.
I wonder if at 71, I wonder if the scenes they film, the action scenes, if they have to do multiple takes, and how long it takes them to get up off the floor. It's probably oh God, this is going to take forever.
Yeah. You never get to see that stuff on the the Blu-rays when they release the footage they never use, or the blooper reels or whatever. Or maybe in the blooper reels they might show something where he goes, "Hey, I just sprained my back. Ouch. We're going to need to take a couple days off." Yeah.
My knees. Yeah.
My knee. Oh my God.
My back. He's gonna take a long time to recover, I would imagine.
Yeah, but what's amazing is he looks good too, and he doesn't look like he's had any work. He's pretty much looked this way, unless they're using filters or something. Tom Cruise. You can kind of see. He's getting
He has like the biggest filters in his face, Tim Seco. Tom
Yeah.
Cruise, stop messing with that.
But it's but it's like Liam Neeson though, like that grizzled, chiseled, old look.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what the camera shines on. Like you see the character and every line in his face. Whereas Tom Cruise has always been more of a pretty boy, and he probably feels like he has to keep that up.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, because that's what audiences come to see. Yeah, but I love the way just Neeson's career, how he evolved in his career and used his, his changing looks to ultimate effect. I mean, he's so good in this movie. You just love looking at him. And Kim, you said it. The camera loves this guy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, Tim Segal, those are the things to watch. So Dogman is a yes, but with a big, huge caveat that it's dark as heck. You didn't care for Godzilla, but other people did, so take that for what it's worth. And then you really liked In the Land of Saints and Sinners.
Yeah, perfect summary.
There you go.
Perfect
and
summary.
all of these are in the theaters.
In theaters.
Correct?
Yep,
Okay, perfect.
in theaters.
All right,
Okay.
Tim Seco, we'll talk to you next week.
Okay, ladies, have a good weekend.
Bye-bye. Awesome. Yeah, I saw Ghostbusters. Donald, good point. Harrison Ford's another one that he leans into his age.
Right.
As an actor, like he knows he's aging, but it's, he's Harrison freaking Ford. And Liam Neeson's Liam Neeson. So it's one of those things where Tom Cruise, I think, is always trying to be the young Tom Cruise. I don't know what Tom Cruise is going to look like when he finally has to accept his age, but and maybe there's some Scientology drink he's drinking that makes him, try to stay young, but it's not working. He looked puffy the last time I saw a picture of Tom Cruise. I'm not trying to be mean.
Yeah.
He just looked puffy. He did.
I just hate to see people that feel like they need to do that.
Welcome to Hollywood, though. He knows what he has to deal with, and so I don't know. There you go. So again, if you want to see the movies, once again, Godzilla. I guess it's Godzilla X Kong, Saints and Sinners, In the Land of Saints and Sinners, and Dogman. It was funny when I was looking for pictures of Dogman, the book by Dave Pilkey kept coming up, and I was like, That's not what Tim Seca was describing to me. It was the Dogman movie. Not at all.
Not that
even
movie.
Close. Not even close. All right. Any big plans this weekend, my friend?
Well, it's Easter.
Yeah.
So the egg hunt, the family brunch,
Let's
the whole
keep
thing.
our fingers crossed that the Easter Bunny does the right thing this time around.
Yes. That's what we're hoping for.
What are you
over at
eating?
this
Do you know
house.
what your chef husband is making for Easter dinner?
He will. Well, we go to my aunt's for brunch.
Oh, okay.
And so everyone brings something, and I don't know what we're bringing. I wasn't involved in that discussion.
We are not knowing. We are not bringing anything. David is bringing something. So there you go. Yeah, we're having some prime rib. I'm in charge of the appetizer, so I think I'm gonna make deviled eggs and do something yummy like that.
I saw on Facebook a recipe flyby that instead of the traditional, you take the yolk and mash it up and whatever, you also put avocados in it, and so it becomes this guacamole filled egg thing. I'll see if I can find the recipe and send it to you.
You know what else I saw that I don't know if I'm going to try because I love my deviled eggs and I don't want to mess it up.
Yeah.
Okay. Because if I mess it up, I'm going to be really pissed off. Right. But instead of, boiling the eggs and taking the shell off it, which can be the biggest pain in the ass of the whole entire thing. Right. You have 2 muffin tins. Okay. Right. You put the whites in one and the yolks in another, and then you cover it. You put it like in a water bath, and then you cover it with foil and you put it in the oven for a set amount of time. And then the whites are cooked, but they're like kind of in a muffin shape. And then you blend up the yolks that are also cooked with all the stuff that you want to add to it, and you can. And then you just kind of pipe it on top. So it's kind of like a cupcake deviled egg.
Huh.
And I don't know, I don't see why that wouldn't work, right? But part of me is just like, I don't know if the white's going to taste the same. But the great part about putting the white in the muffin tin is you could put stuff in it. So somebody put breakfast sausage in the whites as it cooked. So the white part had bits
Sausages
of bacon or
in it.
sausage or whatever in it.
Mhm.
And then you pipe it on top and you could do that sort of thing. So if I do that, I'll make a video and I'll show you guys. I don't know if I'm going to do that yet, but we'll see. I love deviled eggs though. I can eat 2 eggs scrambled and 18 eggs deviled. So that's the
So
devil in
good.
me. They're so, and they're called deviled eggs because I have no idea why. I don't know why they're called deviled eggs. Does anybody know why they're called deviled eggs? Hold on.
I mean,
Deviled
they're
eggs. Name.
they're whipped, they're beaten.
Because I guess
Right?
it's because you put paprika or spicy stuff in it, and that's why they call them
Oh.
deviled eggs. Oh, I did not know that. I just Googled that really quickly. I don't know.
It
They're
seems
delicious.
weird to have deviled eggs on Easter Sunday, doesn't it?
Yeah, a little
Yeah.
sprinkle of paprika on top. Absolutely. All right, you guys have a fabulous weekend. Whether
Happy
you
Easter.
celebrate or not, happy
Yep.
Easter to everybody. We will be back on Monday. Again, please join our Madorable Patreon. Go to thenickymadoroshow.com. thenickymadoroshow.com. Please sign up for our Patreon because that's what keeps the show going. PayPal as well. Go to paypal.com. Just hit the send button and put in the email address, thenickymadoroshow@gmail.com. And get your hands on delicious hot sauces and barbecue sauce at aunttabby's.com/nickkim or Nikki M. NIKKIM. You get a 10% off every single order, every single time, and it helps support the show. All right, you guys have a fabulous weekend.
Splash of Aunt Tabby's on the deviled eggs.
Ooh, I speak in my language, my friend. All right, love you guys. Bye-bye.
Nikki, you're oh so awesome. You're sprout like a beautiful blossom. You're also the best. I really can't rest. You're oh so awesome.
Wow. Okay.